Hi, thank you so much for joining me for another Beyond the Curve River City Living episode. I'm Jill Morenz with the Catalytic Fund. I'm so excited to show you this beautiful property and home in Dayton, Kentucky. And you know, standing out here, you would never guess that you were just a few minutes away from I-471. This episode is sponsored by PNC. For more information about PNC's commitment to affordable housing, community service, neighborhood revitalization, and economic development, visit pnc.com. Take a look at the peaceful setting of this home. From the fire pit, you can see Dayton, the Ohio River, and the hills of Cincinnati. The whole property is like a beautiful park. The homeowners, Beth Neiman and Doug Savanik, are both artists who use this guest house as a studio. Beth will tell us more about their art in a little bit. In the main house, the living room has huge windows that look out on the yard and the river view. Beth tells us how they found this property.
Doug and I were engaged for about a year or less, and he lived in Milford, and I lived in Fort Thomas, and I really love being close to downtown. And I finally said, you know, I really like being downtown, maybe we could find something closer. And he said, I'd consider moving if you could find some place with 5 acres and a pond. So I was like, okay, like a unicorn farm. And so I started Googling and this place came up. And so I snuck up here in the rain and I ran around barefoot, and then I figured out all the pictures were actually 2 places, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is perfect. When I was a kid, I always wanted, I think they call it an aviary or something where there are birds in it and grass on the floor. And I used to think about, like, when I have my house, I'm gonna have grass on the floor and like sort of like a tree house. So when I walked in here, I thought, like, I kind of recognize this place, and especially like the second floor. And so I thought, please be cool, the rest of it, because the living room is selling me 95%. I dragged Doug in. He was really grouchy, and he came through, and I thought, God, he hates this place. Really, like the pool? He doesn't know, you know. And then really grouchy, and then at the end we're leaving, he goes, well, I'm gonna put in an offer. And I was like, what? You know, I've lived most of my life in Chicago, and so this place is something else to just watch. There's so much wildlife around here, so many weird things that you see. I like the view. We have a pond. I love that we're really close to downtown. I sometimes like to paint. I sometimes like to draw, but you know, I love the weirdness of the tin. It's fun to have so many images, and it's always weird. Like, you can come in with your head empty, but the things will find each other. The pieces, the one thing, even the ugly ones, they're for a reason. Doug is a creative director. So he's really used to kind of a corporate environment, but he's also super artistic. So he does these found object collages and tin or whatever, but also does, like, you know, amazing paintings. He's an amazing painter. And I think he's had a lot of room here to spread out.
The entry's stained glass window came from a restaurant in Cincinnati. The whole house is such a personal space filled with books and art that they love, mostly made by friends, along with fun, quirky accessories. When they first saw the house, this was a bedroom. They opened it up to create the dining room. Here we're looking from the dining room to the kitchen. Those orange chairs are their favorite spot for morning coffee because their view is split between the deck and the pond and the indoor pool. This serene space is an unexpected oasis in the house. It even has a real banana tree. And of course, there's art all around. The kitchen colors were inspired by the tiles on the wall and are offset by gray cabinets and the black soapstone counters. The light fixtures came from the church that's visible from their back porch.
Dayton's a great place to live, first of all, for proximity. Someone said that Dayton is the best little town that no one's ever heard of, and that's really true. We've been here 6 years, and still, if I say that we live in Dayton, they're like, oh, you drove all the way out here, because they think it's Dayton, Ohio. No, still no one's heard of it. It's a weird thing. It's like a Harry Potter invisibility cloak. But it's a great place. This view is not really that unusual. We have a huge park that has been closed and locked up for many years, and it's Sargent Park, and it's just gonna be an incredible, beautiful place for families or people with dogs. Yeah, we both love it here in Dayton. I moved from Fort Thomas, he moved from Milford, and actually it's been a great place to live.
Thank you so much for joining me for our tour of this peaceful rural meets urban home in Dayton, Kentucky. Please check out our other episodes at beyondthecurb.org. On behalf of our sponsor, PNC, and the Catalytic Fund, I'm Jill Morenz, and thank you so much. Beyond the Curb is presented by the Catalytic Fund, a company that, through its investments and real estate expertise, executes high-impact real estate projects in Northern Kentucky and creates new spaces for living, working, and entertainment.